Thank you for being here. Week 28, season 2 of Let's Talk About It. I'm happy to see all of our viewers that's here early on YouTube. I'm happy to be here, happy to have my whole family here. Happy to have our special guest here. It's a monumental day. Let me go ahead and start off by introducing our guests, introduce our panel first and foremost, my brothers and my sisters. All the way live from Selma, Alabama, Mr. Aldo Anderson. How are you today, my brother?
My God, I am good, man. All the way down here to family. Hey, y'all.
Thanks for being here, bro. My sister, Candace Castillo, Chicago, Illinois. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Sammy?
I'm able to come up.
Good to have you here. You know what, Aldo, what you drinking on, bro?
Well,
Yo, man, strawberry lemonade for real. I ain't doing too much drinking right now.
Got you. What you drinking on, Candace?
Still dry January, so sangria punch with THC syrup.
Got you. All right. From Huntsville, Alabama, my brother, Sadara Collins. How are you today, sir?
What's up? I'm doing good, doing quite well. Glad to be here.
What you drinking on today? Can I guess?
You know what? I left my beverage in the other room, but it was just some tea, just some little unsweetened tea. Nothing major yet.
I got you. My sister, Detroit, Michigan, Miss Kimberly Dobine. How are you today, sis?
I'm doing good, Sammy. Hey, everybody. What's going on? So today I'm drinking good old H2O, but I do have the Chateau Saint Michelle on deck, yes, just in case things get a little complicated during today's show. And I may need to take a sip. I have some right on deck. Rosé all day.
Got you. My brother, Joe Cross, all the way down in Georgia. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, everybody? Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited about today's show.
Good to see you, man. What you drinking on tonight?
Man, a little Coca-Cola with a splash of Jack Daniels, you know how I do.
I got you.
A little Tennessee whiskey.
Yes, sir. My brother, my cousin, my loved one, Mr. Ray Williams out there in New York. What's going on, bro? I love the dorms, T. I love it.
We'll represent Grayson in the building. All is well, cousin. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to the conversation with the pastor tonight.
Glad to have you too. What you drinking on?
Makers tonight. Little whiskey.
The good stuff.
And don't mix it.
Yeah. My brother, Joseph Madison down in Atlanta, Georgia. How are you, sir?
My people, what's happening? I'm good, man. Happy 28th week at it.
Wow.
Long time of doing something consistent, my brother. Really hats off to everybody that shows up.
Happy to be here. What you drinking on, bro?
Today, homemade lemonade with a little bit of rain vodka, organic 3 times distilled water, rain vodka, mango.
I wanted to say the last but not least of our panel, the newest to the addition, the newest to the family. He's been family, but he's the newest to our panel, the distinguished Mr. Birmingham. I call him Mr. Birmingham, AKA Mr. Alabama A&M University, Mr. Quinton Carter. Welcome, my brother. Welcome to the panel.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Man, glad to have you, bro. I'm so happy that you took my invitation to join, and it's good to have your face on here. What you drinking on?
Hey, H2O, my brother. Taking it light.
There it is. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And our guest for the night. We've been waiting all week for this. Those that's watching, you guys have been hitting us up about this. He is here. Welcome to the show, Pastor Thaddeus Matthews. How are you, sir? Unmute yourself, Pastor. You're muted right now. You're muted, Pastor. There you go.
It's my pleasure to be here, man.
Thank you for joining us, my brother. Before we get started, if you want to call in and talk to the pastor, the call-in link is pinned. So that's the number. And then you also just enter that code, which is the meeting ID. And we'll be taking some calls a little later on in the show. So feel free to call in if you got something to say to Pastor Matthews. So Pastor, real quick, before I get started, let's talk about your book that you got coming up. So I'm gonna pull up something so they can see. You got a new book that's coming out. Talk about it
Yeah,
real
the book will be coming out on February the 19th. It's called Bullshit from the Pulpit. It will talk about many subjects that I have talked about all of my life on the book, including my childhood. It will also feature an affair that I had with two women in the book as well. So it's a must read. It comes out February the 19th. You can pre-order the book as of right now.
Cool. And actually, if you remember, and I'm proud to say this, if you remember before we did that little tour, we did the Bullshit from the Pulpit tour.
Right.
First stop was,
I still have my t-shirts that say Bullshit from the Pulpit. I might have to recycle those.
Yeah. But I remember we was talking about it. I remember you came up with it, and that was a good time. I think that was October 2018. So I appreciate you doing that with me, and that was a fun time. So let's talk, Pastor. So you got a book. I wanted to invite you on. We wanted to talk about the difference between spirituality and religion. There's a huge divide. And, definitely within the Black community. And, I know that you speak on this a lot in your teachings, but let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, from whatever you do you want me to start from? The Black church consists of a whole lot of bullshit. A lot of the teachings in the Black church, a lot of the things that we do in the Black church, we are teaching this when you die, let's go to heaven sermons. When in the Black church, we should be dealing with economic empowerment and the empowerment of people. You want to talk about let's go to heaven. Well, damn, you got to die to go to heaven. You got to go to the funeral home. You got to go to the cemetery. Or if you ain't got no money, you got to go and be cremated. Those things are the things that we have to do. And the Bible doesn't talk about Jesus coming for dying. And this is what the Black church and the Black preacher has been teaching. Jesus came so you can go to heaven. And the scripture says, I am come that ye may have life and have that life more abundantly. We're teaching people in the Black church that it's a blessing to be poor. Hell, it's a sin to be broke when you have the abundance of God. And there are so many other areas.
So to that point, Pastor, let me ask you this, because when you talk about economics being taught from the pulpit in the church, what's the difference between that and those prosperity gospels?
What is a prosperity gospel? How do you define prosperity gospel?
The Reverend Ikes of the world that talk about wealth and getting money and getting paid while most of the congregation don't have the skill set to do so.
What's wrong with talking about wealth and getting money?
I didn't say anything's wrong with it. I said, what's the difference?
I don't try to make a difference in it. The Bible gives you all of that from the very beginning in the book of Genesis, where you have dominion over everything. it tells you that. It gives you the formula for the 7 areas of income, having multiple streams of income. And some preachers have taken the aspect that when you talk about money, when you talk about abundance, when you talk about having a mansion here instead of waiting for a mansion in the sky, when you talk about catching a plane with 2 wings versus having 6 wings and having them flying away and be at rest, a lot of preachers take the mandate that ain't what we're supposed to talk about. So when you talk about a prosperity gospel, the whole Bible, the whole ideal of Jesus and God is prosperity and abundance.
You know what? I agree with a lot of what you're saying. My question is, I guess, nowadays, like in the church, the main focus for people is, right, saving the soul. So I guess a lot of people focus on the hereafter as opposed to, abundance here and now. Do you address at all the saving of the soul part in your teachings?
Now, let's go here. I talk about the salvation, but the church can't save your soul. The preacher can't save your soul.
Facts.
when the scripture, Romans 10:9 says, if thou, that means me, shall confess with my mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in my heart that God has raised him from the dead, the word says, thou shall be saved. It didn't say the preacher got to put the chair out there in the aisle. They got to jump over some benches and you got to put some covers over them. They got to run around the church, yabba dabba do, and smoke it bad too. You ain't got to do any of that. Your soul can only be saved, or salvation only comes from you. It don't come from no church. That's some of the bullshit from the pulpit. Oh, come on, sister. Let me put the chair in the aisle, or you need to be saved. Salvation is an independent entity.
And this is one of the reasons why.
From the pulpit, like what is it touching on? I'm just curious because I call a lot of bullshit from the pulpit, but I just want to hear it from you.
Man, it's so much bullshit in the church.
Yeah.
When the church captivates itself on the raising of money and not on the raising of lives, that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. When we do some of the teachings that is in the Bible, and it ain't of God, it's a bullshit. When you tell me, and I've heard it over and over, and I've been in this preaching thing since I was 16, 17 years old. So I ain't new to this. And I did all the bullshit myself. When we start to telling people, you got to do it like this, and the Bible on Sunday, and I'll give you a prime. The church will tell you, if it ain't in the 66 books, then it don't mean nothing. That's all that God wanted you to know was the 66. And when you read the last chapter of John and the very last verse, it will tell you that the Bible ain't it. This King James Version made by the sister ain't it. It also speaks of the fact in that John scripture that if every book that needs to be written on Jesus was written, it would fill the whole world. So we don't know all that there is about Jesus. People will want to ask you, does Jesus have a girlfriend? I don't know. He was both human and divine. Did he ever kiss a girl? I don't know. I hope Jesus did. I hope that Jesus got us some sugar while he was down here. Okay, so there are so much about God and about Jesus that we don't understand.
Yeah, I think it's funny, Pastor, how a lot of Christians like to cherry pick the sins that they're okay with and the sins that they aren't. And so I think it's kind of cool that you cuss, right? Because like it's sort of like it it puts everybody else at ease, right? Like, okay, if he can cuss, then I can tell him about all this other shit, right? So, like, I just wanted to say that I appreciate it because it sort of, you know, it puts you in a space of realness, right? Like you talk like we do, so we can relate to that.
Man, but let me tell you something. These Negroes be talking about who ain't cussing. Hell, everybody cuss.
Right.
Everybody done call somebody a motherfucker at least once or twice.
They cussing at home.
Yeah, you cussing. See, your pastor is full of bullshit.
Right.
See, your pastor tells you he don't like fucking. I fuck. Okay? Your pastor tells you he don't like a big booty woman. Well, if your pastor don't like a big booty woman, 9 times out of 10, he likes a big booty boy. Okay? So, cut the bullshit. See, we need to be transparent. If we're going to save and deliver people who are in the street, you got to let them know that, hell, there's an X in front of my name, man. You know, I've been out there in the streets. I done did this. I done did that. And if God has the power to save me, he got the power to save you.
And I'm glad that you touched on that point, Pastor, because that was a great segue to my question. So as a believer, as a pastor, do you not feel the responsibility of, even in your authenticity, still having a certain level of purity? I don't even want to use the word purity, but while I can appreciate being transparent and real, do you feel like sometimes the cursing aspect or talking about, you know, having sex or whatever can be tainted by just your delivery? Do you think
no, it's real. It's real.
Based on delivery.
It's real. It's real. See, you're trying to be politically correct and dressing it up. I use the word fucking. Okay.
I'm not going to say that.
Well, you may not say it. You're proper. You've been to school and all that bullshit, but you may not use it. You have sex then?
Yeah, I'm married. Yeah, I'm married. Yeah.
No, darling. Did you have sex before you married your husband?
Absolutely.
Okay then.
But I also
then let's not address cussing. I cuss. I'm
not saying anything is wrong with it. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it. What I'm saying is, as a pastor, do you feel a responsibility to lead people to Christ or lead people to their own salvation without using the profanity or without saying the explicits and still getting your point across? Like,
well, I love you.
My question is, what purpose does it serve to curse the whole sermon?
I cuss. I don't curse. And you've been to school. You're Alabama. There's a difference in cursing and cussing.
Yeah.
I cuss. I've been cussing almost 64 years. When I was born April the 1st, 1957, it was on a Monday, it was raining. I looked out, and when I peeked out that hole, I said, well, the fuck am I at now? I remember looking around and saying that. Saw some fine ass nurses.
You ain't saying that, Pastor. You ain't saying that.
Pastor said this is his second time on earth.
You wasn't even there. Yes, I did.
Came out the womb cussing.
I came out the womb
cussing. Real quick, before we go to our first caller, Pastor, somebody wants to know, what are you drinking? I forgot to ask you.
I'm drinking some, what is this I'm drinking, baby? Some Spumante. The doctor took me off of Hennessy.
Oh,
God, no more.
No, otherwise, I'd have me some Hennessy.
I thought you was gonna be drinking Ripple.
Oh,
and that's what your old ass daddy drink is Ripple. I don't drink no Ripple.
Oh my God.
You been looking at Fred Sanford.
Also,
I drink good stuff.
I'm drinking
Hennessy right now. You got something brown now.
God, Pastor. I'm drinking.
Well, Pastor, he still ain't answered my question. So
no, I ain't got nothing wrong with my delivery. Those that follow me ain't got nothing wrong with my delivery. So, and I don't give a damn what the rest of the folks say.
I think it's you probably do. Let me ask you this: do you view cussing as a sin, or do you not view anything wrong with it? Because
I don't see nothing wrong with. I don't see anything wrong with cussing.
Yeah.
I believe Jesus cussed. I believe when Jesus turned the tables over, he was cussing. we define cussing as calling someone out of their names. When Jesus was here, he called you fools. He called you vipers. He called you out of your name. Now, maybe at that time, the word motherfucker had not been come up with.
Yeah, it's relative.
Okay. I think if Jesus was here back then when he was turning the table over, he'd have called them a bunch of stupid robbing motherfuckers. That's what I think Jesus would have said.
Well,
now, Pastor,
y'all just gonna stand there and let these motherfuckers hang me on this cross?
Yeah.
Pastor, I don't think he called them type of motherfuckers. I think he just walked up to the table and said, "What the fuck is this shit?" and flipped it off.
That's what Jesus said. Yeah, that's what Jesus said. What the fuck y'all got going on?
So
get this shit out of my place.
So real quick, Pastor, I'm gonna take our first caller real quick, and let's see what our caller got to say. Caller, are you there? You gotta first of all, what's your name and where are you calling from? I can't hear you, caller. You gotta connect to audio. All right. While we wait on the caller, Ray Wills.
There we go.
There you go, caller.
Yep. Can you hear me? This is Kendall Sanderson. How's it going, Sam?
What's going on, Mr.
How's it going, everyone?
What's going on, man?
Well, welcome to the show. So
thanks for having me, and thanks, Pastor Thaddeus, for joining. This has been wild and wide open, man. It's been a highlight of my night, so appreciate you.
All right, brother.
So what do you got to say? What did you want to ask the pastor?
So the question I wanted to ask, and before it gets too far in a different direction, I kind of wanted to piggyback on what Ray mentioned earlier, and it was really kind of more or less along the lines of Christianity as it relates to us, African Americans, descendants of slaves here in the U.S., and how you reconcile the role that Christianity was played in the subjugation of our people. So I just want to I know going through seminary and getting into the history. I know you've come across this at least once or twice.
First of all,
so I just kind of wonder how you reconcile that.
First of all, let me clear something up. I have not been to seminary. I've been preaching since I was 17, but I have never been to seminary. Okay, but I'm a reader. I'm a researcher. I'm a believer. And let me give you what I think about that. Even prior to, I believe it was 1619, we were believers. We have accepted the white man's idea of what Christianity is all about. Even when we came across the waters on that slave ship that was called the good ship Jesus. I think that a lot of things that we have been indoctrinated to. Because see, I can't go with that bullshit that Paul says. Servant, obey your master. Bullshit. Okay? My oppressor will never be my deliverer. Okay? So first of all, I don't preach religion. God has no religion. I believe in the awesomeness of God. I believe that when we go into the epistles, we deal with Paul's writings of letters, and that a lot of that was Paul's idea. But I am not going to teach people to be subjected to the white man. I'm going to tell them that you are free, and that white boy that you got hanging on your wall in your house and in your church is not Jesus. When you, as a Baptist, use the term missionary Baptist, your slave master thought that you were his mission, and that's the reason you were called the Missionary Baptist Church. So I teach people to be free in mind, free in spirit, and to empower yourself and believe that God, at the end of the day, is your creator. Not these Negroes that call themselves bishops and popes and great fine elders and shit. No. Does that answer your question?
Hold on. So this was my whole reason why I personally stopped going to church, because I definitely didn't agree with that bullshit that you just said about slavery and stuff. Like, and I used to be a minister, so I just couldn't get with that particular point. So I'm more on the spiritual side of everything. As far as Jesus, man, fuck all of that. I don't believe in none of that stuff. I believe there's a higher power. Don't know what it is, don't even care. But as long as I'm being a good person and I pray to the universe, is whatever. But
well, you know, man, what I tell you is this: I can't tell you what to believe and who to believe in. Jesus said, "A new commandment I give unto you is that to love thy neighbor as you love yourself."
And that's what I do.
And long as you can love folk, you in tune with God. Spirituality is being in tune with the Creator. Religion is bullshit.
I agree.
You got a bishop this and a bishop that, and all them motherfuckers doing is trying to get paid. And the people, I mean, what does it look like? Man, your pastor got a Bentley and you got to catch a damn bus. But you want me to sing, it is no secret what God can do. What he's done for others, he'll do for you. Well, damn, I want a Bentley too.
But you know what? Another thing,
let me get a Chevrolet.
I heard you was talking about the prosperity part of it too, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way too, because a lot of these fake pastors is out here preaching about if you give this, then God will give you this. That ain't even the Bible. God don't operate like that. The Bible don't even say God operate like that. If I give you $5, that means I'm gonna give 10 back. That's some bullshit coming from the pulpit.
No, what the Bible says, and I think it's the most prosperous verse in the world, comes from Galatians. Be not deceived. That means don't be fooled. For God is not mocked. He ain't lying. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Man, if I give goodness, I get goodness back. If I plant money and I'm good to other folk, I get some money back. It's not negative. God gives back in interest, and I know he does.
Okay? That's how I live my life, Pastor. That's how I live my life. Like, I help people out. I do anything for people. You know what I'm saying? But just because I don't believe what you believe in, people look at me sideways. You know what I'm saying?
That's the pattern of the black church. You got to believe what I believe. You got to believe in speaking in tongues. You got to believe in rolling on the damn floor when they throwing the handkerchief on you.
I just wanted to touch on that because
so real quick, Joe, real quick, Ray, and then Joe. But Kendall, did that answer your question? Thanks for calling in.
In a way, it kind of did. In a way, it didn't. Because I mean, really, when we're talking about the difference between religion and spirituality, just that limitation and that set of rules, that structure around religion, that defines, what's proper and what's not. That to me works against the tenet of spirituality. Spirituality is more of an individual, thing. But that's also what he mentioned earlier. But that doesn't fit within the confines of religion. So when our ancestors came over here, they were, for the most part, more of a spiritually focused group until,
white folks got a whole
various churches and crowns, finance expeditions over to Africa to try to convert them over to Christianity. A lot of them already were, believe the Muslims, or they practice more of a different type of spirituality. But then when that happened, those same verses, like you mentioned, Paul, his letter to the Ephesians, when he talked about, servants, be obedient to them that they are your masters according to the flesh. That kind of stuff, that was, very much sanctioned, in the eyes of Christians in that day and throughout, many different places. Not the Crusades. I mean, we can go on and on and on at how religion has been used, for subjugation. I think it's rife for corruption. So, not even just talking about slavery, but especially because we are descendants. A lot of us are descendants of slaves. I just wonder how you reconcile that. He did answer that question somewhat, but then somewhat not.
Well, let me put it this way then. I don't reconcile with it. I think that the white folk fucked you up. Okay? Yeah. Let me just put it plain to you. White folk and their religion fucked you up.
So did.
They use slavery as a form of making you submissive. Okay? Isn't it strange that the white man missed that part where when there's a description of Jesus given in Revelations that he got hair like lamb's wool? That's nigger hair right there. You got hair like lamb's wool, feet like polished brass, eyes like balls of fire. That is descriptive of the black man. But the white man didn't give you that way. He gave you that bullshit of that homosexual named Caesar Borgia, who was a homosexual. Okay? He was a homosexual. That white boy that they've got some of y'all believing in that's hanging on your church in your baptism, he's a sissy. But you don't want no sissies in your church, and you worshiping a sissy. Is that plain, my brother?
The first church I go to in years. I'm coming to Memphis, Pastor.
So thank you for joining, Kendall. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining.
No problem. Thanks.
Yep. So real quick, before we go further, I want to, some news just came in that the Queen Cicely Tyson just passed away. So I want to make sure that we honor her, and if we could take just a quick moment of silence in her name. Thank you. R.I.P. Miss Tyson. Pastor, did you ever
Tyson just died?
Yeah, she just died.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever meet Cicely?
No, I never met Miss Tyson. I never met her.
I worked with her times, Cuzzo. Sweetest lady ever.
R.I.P. Miss Tyson. May your soul rest in peace.
May her transition be great.
And since we're talking about that, since that just happened, Pastor, what are your thoughts? And then we can get to you, Ray, and then Joe, because I know you guys had a quick question. But Pastor, what are your thoughts about afterlife?
Well, I ain't give a whole lot of thought about it because I'm trying to live all the life I can live right now. I haven't really thought about the afterlife as far as when I get to heaven. No one is in heaven as of now, if we believe scripture, that we have transitioned to a place called paradise. The word says, if we believe that portion of the word, says that to be absent from the body is to be with the Lord. So, man, I'm trying to do all I can do living. I ain't got much thought on the afterlife because ain't nothing I can do about it afterwards. I'm trying to do all that I can do right now. I'm trying to stay as far away from the funeral home as I can. And at almost 64 years old, I'm getting closer and closer. So, no.
I personally believe that we transition somewhere else. I don't believe in heaven or hell. As a matter of fact, the Catholics came out and said they made up hell to scare people into Christianity. That's a fact. That's what they said. One of the high priests said that they made up hell. As far as I'm like, I don't think we never really die. I think we just transition to wherever we're a ball of energy. Whole body is energy, so energy travels.
I don't know whether we energy. I don't know if I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do believe that there is an afterlife. I do believe that. I believe there's an afterlife. I won't call it heaven, and I won't call it hell. I ain't in no hurry to get to neither one. Okay? I want to be as abundant and prosperous and as healthy and as loving as I can be in this particular life, and that life gonna take care of itself.
Good one. Ray Wills, and then Joe Cross.
Yeah, so just real high level, I kind of think that people that say they're spiritual and not religious is just a bullshit excuse for not wanting to go to church no more. So like I don't really subscribe to that notion, at least not in the way that it's presented. But Pastor, a lot of the things that I hear you saying don't sound like Christianity to me, right? Like all
I don't call myself a Christian, man.
Okay, cool. And that's what I wanted to get at, because the things that I'm hearing are some of the same principles that I live by, right? Like, you know, like I have a hard time like recognizing and realizing that the Bible was written by men, right? And so like, let's say if someone wrote some shit today and told us this is how we're supposed to live our life, we would all call bullshit, right? So like I don't know you very well, Pastor, but like just hearing some of the things that you say almost is in direct contrast to what most churches teach.
It is. And you know, I tell people in my atmosphere, this ain't your grandmama's church.
Right.
I don't teach that old bullshit. Man, I grew up in that bullshit. I preached many years in that bullshit.
Yeah.
And came to find out, man, because see, I left church for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I only came back in my ministry now, the Naked Truth Liberation and Empowerment Ministry, is only going to be 5 years old in May of this year. And I got tired of the bullshit in church, man. I knew the bullshit.
Yeah.
I knew that half the guys in the ministry was full of shit. Mm-hmm. That we were pretenders, man. You know, we want to pretend as though we so holy that we just walked out of heaven. And you fucking all the women, all the little girls, and the little boys in the church. Instead of being openly drinking, you like I was with some preachers, a preacher friend of mine. We were absolute drinkers, and we go out. I get my absolute. He want absolute in water so that he can let the other folk think he ain't doing nothing but drinking water. Now, there's a whole lot of water you can drink, Doc. But I think we got to give up the pretense, man. We got to give up the pretense. I've sat in pulpits, man, getting ready to speak. And I see a fine woman, big booty girl, big titties come around, offering time. I said to her, I leaned up to the pastor. Who is that? Oh, don't mess with her. That's the king's meat, which means that that's the pastor's woman. So come on, man. We just got to be real about who we are and what we are. And again, I don't use the word any longer that I'm a Christian. I am a believer. I believe in God. I believe in his awesomeness. And I care less for the bullshit these bishops and these elders won't teach folk.
Real talk. Joe Cross.
Well, 2 points. Well, first of all, I'm a believer. I just want to say that before I start. I think that Black people in America, particularly even more so now, the people from Africa who's, migrated to the United States, but especially Black people, descendants of slaves. I think we are some of the most quote unquote religious people in the United States. And I don't think it's an accident that our economic status is what it is in the United States, and we are the most religious people in the United States. I think it's a parallel, or it's some type of relationship between the two. And I could just point out a lot of scriptures that, reiterate, like Pastor Thaddeus said, just how it's so sinful to be prosperous, rich or wealthy, and how it's, so righteous to be poor. There are a lot of scriptures like that. My second state is that I find it interesting that church is set up to study or understand spirituality, yet I am always baffled at the amount of ego that's in the church. Like if your goal was to, really try to guide me spiritually, it should not offend you that I believe differently from you.
Mm-hmm.
That lets me know that's a telltale sign that it's really about ego and control. And everywhere you go, like look at the masses, especially in the Black church, look at the masses of people. If you say anything contrary to what they grew up believing or what they've come to believe, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You are always challenged. It's never accepted, And so those are the only things I just noticed, about religion in particular. So yeah, that's it.
Pastor Thaddeus, I wanted to know your thoughts because I've always, even growing up in the church, felt like it's impossible for anyone outside of the pastor to be an alpha personality, right? Like once you, like Joe mentioned, go against anything that the pastor says, or you have your own mind, then you become, outcast from the church, for lack of a better word. Do you think that is the case? Do you think most pastors don't groom their parishioners or their members to be leaders, but yet sheep or followers?
I think that you can look at our society and understand that the Black church is not raising leaders. In many churches, the organization of the church wants only the potentate or the pastor to be informed. If you don't inform your people, you can keep dumb sheep. And you have to understand the characteristic of a sheep. A sheep is the dumbest creature out there. The sheep
and pastor translates to shepherd. Go ahead.
Yeah. The sheep is the animal that when it falls over, can't pick itself up. The shepherd has to pick it up. The sheep can see the wolf coming at them and won't run. That's the reason that we are described as sheep. Now, and the church has taken that term and used it loosely. You want your folk to be dumb. You don't want them to be educated because you feel that the dumber they are, the more money they're going to give you. The weaker they are, they look for you for all of their strength, which is totally wrong. And this is the reason that we have the weakness that we have in the Black community is because of the preacher, the bishop, who thinks he's all that and a bag of nuts. And he's not. You should want to educate everybody around you. The smartest administrator, the most successful administrator rather, is not the one that knows everything, but is surrounded by people that know a little bit about everything that can fill up the pot of knowledge for the pastor. So yeah, I believe that it is organized, especially in the Black church, for the pastor to want dumb folk around it.
Do you think some pastors are doing it the right way? Do you think those guys exist out there? And if so,
I'm sure that there are many guys that's out there doing it the right way or want to do it the right way.
Right. So my question would be, if you had to give advice, since you've been in that line of work, what are some red flags or some items that you would say, hey, if you're at a church and they start doing this, bail, and don't just bail completely, go look for this. Go look for a few. What are the positive things that you think people should look for when they go to a church?
ATM machines in the church.
Okay, red flag. Get out.
Okay. You can't join the church unless you give them your W-2 form.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you got to go to the church and you love Jesus and it's supposed to be about Jesus, well, fuck, I got to give you my W-2 form.
I'm with you. So,
and the reason that they do that, as you join the church, they create their budget off of you. You make $100,000 a year. Well, we know now we're supposed to get another $10,000 a year we can add to our budget. And you got some churches in this country, black churches, that'll send you a damn collection letter. Shit, you ain't paid your money this month. Your tithes is behind. Yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, this is the thing though. The thing is some of you guys just watching, your church is doing this.
Okay, but hold on, Sammy. I also want a few key indicators of a good church as well.
The good church?
Yeah.
Teaching, man.
Okay.
The hoop has died. Okay. Man, in my day, I was a hoopologist. You know, they teach you how to hoop, don't you? I know how to tune, brother. I know how to emotionalize our people. And our churches have been built on the emotion of articulation.
Absolutely.
Ooh, that sounds good. The pulpit theatrics is what has made our black churches. But in this day and time, in this hour of pandemic, you need to know that it's all right to have some money. You need to know that I ain't finna wait on no damn stimulus check, and I don't give a damn what Biden or Kamala does. God said that he has given me a gift of prosperity. If I open up my gift, I can have whatever I want to have. If you in a church and they ain't doing nothing but hooping and hollering, running and jumping, and they ain't teaching you nothing, man, you're in the wrong place. That's a sign you need to go. And one of the things that we have done as black folk, my mama been in church of Zion AME for 99 years. I got to be here because my mama here, her mama was here, my great grandmama was here, and you ain't learning a damn thing, brother. You got to go out and find what is necessary for the salvation of your soul and the salvation of your mind.
Right.
So Pastor, I've heard so many things that I totally agree with that you're saying. Especially when you talk about the pastors drinking. My mama was the head person when we had guests to come in, and it's a famous gospel singer who said, "Baby, I don't care what you do, find me a shot of whiskey and find it right now."
Must be Shirley Caesar.
No. You want to say
Shirley
what?
Can drink. Shirley can drink.
No, it was Albertina Walker.
Oh, can I tell you about Albertina? Let me tell you about Albertina. I grew up when I started in radio about 40 years ago, I was a gospel announcer. I promoted shows. So we had Albertina come into town. And she got this sissy piano player that travels with her everywhere. So I take them up to the room in a hotel here in Memphis. And Albertina started getting undressed. You know, I didn't want no old stuff, no way. But, she started taking her clothes off. And the piano player started taking his clothes off. I said, no, what the fuck going on here? Look, we're going to sing. I'll see y'all later at the concert. But he's taking off his clothes. And Albertina taking off her clothes. She down to her slip. I don't want none of this old pussy. Now and I told Albertina, I don't want none. Okay? And I told the sister, now, I don't do that now. We're going to fuck up and fight up here in this hotel and tear all this shit up in this hotel. But don't tell me what these gospel singers want to do now. I've been around too many of them, baby, and been on the road with too many of them. So,
But do you?
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask. So I know so many churches in Chicago, they get government money and corporate dollars. Do you think that's how bad the church has gotten? That is contributed to how bad some of these churches have gotten?
Well, let me also say this. The reason that many churches cannot speak out against the evils of this government is because you done took the white man's money. There's the former mayor of the city, black mayor, says that you cannot be free when you take the white man's money. I remember a few years ago, you remember when the word faith-based initiative was used, and black preachers and their churches were getting money. I was in a meeting with some preachers, and they were all excited about getting this faith-based initiative money. I said, brethren, I got a problem with this. Why you got a problem with this? I said, look at the acronym. Faith-based initiative, FBI. That right there tells me that the government is a part of this. The government is paying all black preachers in this country to be silent. You don't hear black preachers raising any saying or commotion about issues in this country. In fact, I don't look up to but one black leader in this country, and that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I don't give a damn about Jesse Jackson and zero fucks about Al Sharpton. I follow the teachings of a man that is trying to raise his people up. We took in 2019, $18 billion went across the tables of black churches. What do we have to show for it? Other than big buildings, fine mansions for the pastor, Bentleys for the pastor, private jets for the pastor. What have we gotten for the people? Why are our people still suffering in poverty while the preacher is living a prima donna lifestyle?
You want to answer to that? Because that's not the goal, Pastor. I was talking to someone the other day, and it's like the educational system, right? Like if they wanted to fix schools, if they wanted to fix roads, if they wanted things to change, they would. Same thing with the church, right? Like if they wanted things to be different, they would be. So Noam Chomsky is a philosopher. He said like every institution in the world has been corrupted. Why would we be so arrogant as to think that the institution of religion has not? And so
I agree totally with that. I agree totally with that.
It's business like everything else, but it's an unregulated, untaxed like business of manipulation. It is. That's what the church is. And the reason why you want dumb people around you is so that they continue to feed into that.
Mm-hmm. And you keep on telling them, oh, you're going to get your reward when you get to heaven. Hell, I want some here.
That's bullshit.
There's a reward here.
Yeah. It's preposterous to me to think that like we should like not enjoy life here in hopes of something after this. That's crazy to me. Like literally nuts.
That's what Jesus said. I am come that ye may have life, not death, not the funeral. I am come that ye may have life and have it more abundantly. It's all right to have some money. It's all right to have a big house. It's all right to have a nice car. It's all right. God wants you to live good. But we teaching our folks to live in poverty. You go to church all day, and then you leave church and can't get a 2-piece chicken plain at Church's Chicken.
But see, we got to start calling out these pastors that are doing it. I mean, by name. You know what I'm saying? Because
I do it.
Yeah, I know you do. I hear you saying that, but it's regular folks need to call these pieces of shit out for real. You know what I'm saying? Because they're feeding off the money of people who ain't got it for real. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's bogus as hell, man. I really believe that's just bogus. And that's why I just can't be around them.
Isn't it strange, man, that many preachers will tell you have faith and wait on God.
Right.
He will deliver. Damn it, you ain't waiting on God. You ain't got faith either. You get money every Sunday, so you ain't gotta have faith. You know that those who tell you that they have faith will continue to put money in and guess what? You take the money out. So you ain't got no faith, but you're misusing the people of God.
In addition to that, is it not written in your laws that you are God in that part of the text? Isn't that a question that was asked?
Where my Bible at? The
Right?
Bible says in the book of Psalms that thou art God. Okay?
It tells you what you are, and we still don't believe it, or they still don't believe it.
You haven't been taught that. If you use that term, and let me find it for you real quick for those that are watching, that you can find that scripture. It's in Psalms. It's a verse that I use all the times in talking to my people.
And real quick, while we waiting on you to pull that verse up, I hate to interrupt while you're doing that, Pastor. I hope this isn't.
That's right, man. I'm enjoying this.
I just wanted to make sure. Somebody, this is going to be a touchy one. A couple people have asked about this, and let's talk about it. A couple people have asked about if you have a problem with homosexuals. So go ahead and what are your thoughts on homosexuality?
Well, let's go to that.
Well, hold on, Pastor. Go ahead and tell us your what you were saying. That's why I was saying I hate to cut you off.
I just wanted to piggyback on what Pastor was saying before. Like, this nation being a Christian nation is a relatively new thing. Like, "In God We Trust" being printed on our currency happened in the 50s. So it's not like we were founded on beliefs of Christianity or any of that. Like, this is they politicized religion in the same way they do everything else. Go ahead, Pastor.
That scripture is Psalms 86 and 10 that tells you that thou art God, small g God. Okay? You're a small g God. You're a junior God. But if I am a God, then I'm a small g God, then I must come from the big G God. I'm junior God. And as junior God, I got the powers of my daddy. If God is my daddy, his DNA is in me. And I know it's in me because Genesis says, "Let us make man. Let us make him in our image." We got the DNA of God in us. How come I can't be a little God? How come I'm not performing miracles in my own life if I'm a God? You remember Superman, don't you? Did you grow up watching Superman?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
If you watch Superman, you remember that was Superboy. Remember Superboy?
Oh, yeah.
Superboy could fly, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Superboy was strong. Superboy grew into Superman, but as a little S Superman, he had the power. As a little man G, a little God, I got the power. Man, I can work miracles. I can knock at the door and the door come open. I can see and I can find, I can use the x-ray vision that God has given me to get anything I want, brother. Yeah, I'm a God.
You know what? I agree, because I think one of the main things that the church does, whether it does it purposefully or not, I don't think it does it, purposefully, but it teaches you to look outside of yourself, right? It teaches you that the power that you need in order to straighten, things out in your life, be it economically, emotionally, spiritually, is outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people in the church demonize meditation, because, God forbid you actually look inside of yourself and find some strength in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's just another observation I made, but I wouldn't go as far as to say like everybody in the church is sheep, I guess. I guess you could say. I think there are genuinely people in the church who are searching, you know, and I don't think some churches are malicious. They have malicious intent, but I don't think many of them are. I think people are just uninformed, misinformed. I don't think that they have any clue about what spirituality is. You know, nobody has taught them, therefore they perpetuate the same ignorance, if you will. And I think that a time is happening where the consciousness of Black people is rising, and we're starting to see through a lot of the BS. Like you said, church is emotionalized. I found it interesting that you say that, because it's a reason why 70% of the people in church are women. You know what I mean? It's a little harder to get guys in there, you know. And I just think that all that just comes together and creates what we have here today.
Well,
Joe, what you said is hilarious.
Why?
Because I actually go to a church that teaches meditation. So that's why it's funny. I'm sorry, Pastor.
No, I think that most of us, or most of them rather, have been traditionalized.
Mm-hmm.
You're following the teachings of your mama. She was taught wrong. She was following the teachings of her mama. She was wrong. So you're caught up in what you think is right, not because you know it's right, but you follow the tradition of those you think that know. And they think they know. And the biggest thing that bothers them is changing their mind.
That's why I think it's so important for people to know God for themselves. Like not subscribing to any one religion or one person's teaching, or like you said, Pastor, what your grandmother taught or what your mother taught. Because I can look at my mother and my grandmother and be like, you know, in terms of the way I choose to live and the amount of abundance that I feel, you know, is attainable, right? And so I don't feel like there are limits on things that we should put on ourselves. And to me, that's thinking with a God mindset anyway. You know, I don't put limits on myself, and I don't believe that we should, as Black people, as any kind of persons, right? But I think the biggest thing in the church, and we kind of touched on this before with manipulation, is people need to learn how to be discerning on those things that you talked about. When you walk into a church and they're not teaching the Bible, when it's all focused on money, when it's all focused on if you do this and this, then you'll go to heaven. Those are not real practices of getting closer to God. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, you know, you don't need to do all of that stuff. So I agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to know why you got to be cussing all the time, Pastor. That's it.
Ma'am, I'm a great cusser.
And what's hilarious is you and my dad's born the same year, and my dad is a cusser too. He loved to cuss. So I just
1950. Your dad born in 1957?
Yes.
What month was he born in?
He's an Aquarius, February.
Okay. Well, I'm an Aries. Look, and I'm gonna show you how God has a sense of humor. My birthday is April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a legitimate fool, baby.
Hey, real quick, guys, if you're watching, if you want to tap in or call in, please, the number 301-715-8592. You can call in, ask the pastor questions, feel free. You don't got to show your face, just call in. And also the link, the member ID link is also pinned as well. Aldo, you were saying.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was just ready for him to answer that question about homosexuality that everybody complaining about. Everybody got their own feelings on how they feel about homosexuality. Don't bother me as long as you don't bring the bullshit to me. But go ahead, Pastor. They want to know.
Well, let me give you my answer. And it's funny that I've been talking about this the last few days. I appeared on a show a couple of nights ago, the Jason Lee show, and he's a flaming sissy. Okay. And that's not to give sisters a bad, he gives sisters a bad name. Okay. He does a program with no substance, and they ambushed me on the show. But let me say this about when it comes to homosexuality. And I say this openly. I like pussy. Always has and always will. I think that a man should be a man. Okay. But if you are a sissy, if you're taking dick in your ass and sucking dick, that's up to you. I'm not here to condemn you. You like it, I love it. Okay? And isn't it strange that the very church that denounces homosexuality, and remember this, Jesus said, there is no big sin and no little sin. Okay? All sin is unrighteousness. But isn't it strange that you got this white boy on your wall that you say is your savior? He is sissy. Reading history, King James was a sissy. You got sissies in your pulpit. You got sissies on your organs and your drums and directing your choir.
The whole Catholic Church. Sorry.
The Catholic Church. See, look, man, I think we're being hypocritical when we come to the subject of homosexuality. I don't want no homosexual. I want a woman. I'm going to marry one. And what she got betwixt her thighs is good to me. Okay? I don't need no man. But if that's what floats your boat, if that's what makes you happy, because you got to give an account to God, not me. You got to work out your own soul salvation. Let me tell you something. I've done some shows with, have you ever heard of T.S. Madison?
Yeah, I have. And I think that's really how this started, right, Pastor? How it really started was somebody accused you or was trying to slander your name, accused you of being homosexual or something, and you simply said, no, I like pussy. And I think that's what went viral. Correct? Am I not correct?
Some of what? T.S. Madison, who is a transgendered woman, is a friend of mine. I have appeared on T.S.'s show, I think 2 or 3 times. I have been to her home in Conyers, Georgia, where her studio is. We're drinking great cognac together. When I appeared on T.S.'s show, I had the holier than thou's. Oh, you got to be a homosexual. You're with homosexual. You took pictures with a homosexual. No, I took a picture with a person that has been kind to me, that I have no problems with. And I don't give a fuck about what you think. No one that was in that atmosphere or no one that was in that room was hit on me, unkind to me, made any advances to me. We did business. And look around in your church. There's some homosexuals in your church. Your pastor might be a sissy.
But Pastor, I don't even think that you need to qualify it, right? Like good people are good people regardless of
right. But I qualified it for the purpose
being in the same
church folk. I qualified for the church. Your musician in your church, brother pastor, you know he's a sissy.
Yeah, but so if we're gonna like abide by religious rules and no sin is greater than any other, right? Then you like cheating on your wife or you cussing or you like doing whatever, it's all the same.
I disagree with that.
But the church doesn't look at it like that.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with which part, Joe Cross?
I disagree with no sin is greater than the other. I mean, I know it's popular to say, and it sounds pretty cool when you know it. But if my little daughter comes in here and lie, as opposed to her coming in here and blowing my brains out, them two different levels of sin right now. I just don't know what people talking about with that.
Wait, hold on. But both of those are two of the commandments that we are not supposed to do. Thou shalt not lie and thou shalt not kill.
You know, man, I'm telling you, we could get like real deep into it because, you know, there's a lot of people that say, well, when the New Testament came, they established a new covenant. And so the Old Testament is no longer relevant. So it's like, which one?
So back to calling out bullshit then. We're currently living in the Third Testament that has yet to be written then, right? So all of this shit is worthless because we're now rewriting the whole book by being good people.
Which goes to my point.
Or that's further bullshit because they
it needed to be rewritten, right? Like if the word of God was perfect, then it should have stopped with the First Testament. So y'all telling me God was wrong, so we need to redo this shit. We're gonna rewrite this shit because God was
all a lie.
Just like this.
It is a lie.
That's why I you know, I don't believe everything written in the Bible. And it's funny because I told one girl that she was from Liberia or somewhere she was from, but she just could not fathom the fact that I believed in God, yet didn't believe everything written in the word. Like she could not justify the two at all because she didn't understand.
Let me throw in a point here. You believe just like I believe. Okay. And I believe more so in the Old Testament. I believe in the New Testament up to, you know, the red part. That's what Jesus speaking. But when it gets to Paul, I think that we get to what is opinions. I think Paul gave some opinions. So, you know, like when Paul tells me not to lay down, not to have no sex and stuff, Paul was a eunuch. They had cut Paul's dick off. So hell, how is a man with no dick gonna tell me it's wrong for me to get some? You ain't got no dick. You can't get none.
Hey, Pastor, you got any receipts for that? I would like to read up on that.
If you go back and you read the history of Paul, Paul was called a eunuch. Okay, EUNCH, something like that. A eunuch. A eunuch was one who had either been castrated or they gave him something where his dick wouldn't get hard. And the reason for the eunuch was when you saw all of those kings and stuff that had all of those women, well, them were the king's wives. He didn't want them guys with the, you know, the fans and stuff to be fucking his women. So they were put in a condition where they was non-fuckable. Okay? But I agree with you, brother, that I don't agree with everything that is scripturally written.
Me either, yeah.
Because it wasn't meant to be scripture. The epistles of Paul were letters. Okay? These were letters to Timothy, to the church at Ephesus. They were letters. They were Paul's thinking on what should be happening with the church. Remember now, Paul, whose name had been Saul, at one time he was killing the church folk. Then he met Jesus on the Damascus Road and Jesus changed it. And you know how we get when Jesus changed us. Oh, you've been the biggest hoe, you've been the crackhead, you've been the gangster, but oh, I done met the Lord. And when you met the Lord, you changed your name and you tried to say that you are something no longer that you are. So a lot of that, I think I give nothing about it.
You know, I could kind of though. I could kind of agree with that. See, the thing is, like, I think people misinterpret. First of all, people misinterpret what the Bible actually is. And I think people interpret a lot of the scriptures written within the Bible. I do believe that, you know, whenever you get certain type of knowledge, you have new perspective changes your outlook on life, you act different. You can be better through the word of God. I'm not saying that, you know, the Bible is some type of bad book. I'm saying that it can transform people. You know, it does have that power. When you're exposed to new knowledge, you get new perspective, and then you move differently. So for that reason, I think it's good. But I just think that most people get to the point, especially when you study, that you start to see that everything ain't contained within the Bible. Like, I tell people that all the time. All the knowledge you need, first of all, it shouldn't be a cap on your knowledge. Like, you should be free to learn everything you possibly can, and you discern what's good knowledge and what's bad knowledge from there. But, you know, I just think that, you know, it can be good. Like, you know, the Bible can be good. It can raise the consciousness of people. But like I said, I just think people get to a certain level to where it's like, okay, I need more substantial information. Like, what's the difference between the spirit and the soul? Like, can somebody give me some real spiritual information here?
So, Joe,
let me say this, Joe.
Is a guideline, right? Like, I don't think, because you muted, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
What I wanted to say is you and Aldo are talking at the same time. So Ray Wills and then Aldo. Go ahead.
No, so Joe Cross, what I was going to say is that, like, I view the Bible as a guideline, right? Like, it's a book of parables. It's a book of instruction. Like, it's a guide for how you should live your life. But when people take it literally, right, like that's where a lot of issue and problems come in. Like, you know, just shit that, like, you know, can't be possible, right? Like, you can't walk into fire and not be burned. Like, that just cannot happen.
Can a virgin get pregnant?
She just cannot, right? Like, she fucked somebody and had this baby, right? Like, you know, and so like you know, these parables, these things are written so that, like, your faith should be so strong that you would believe these things, but we will understand them to not be 100% true. And that's just how I feel about the things that were written. Like, and then I have like very simple questions, like why didn't Jesus write a book of the Bible?
You know, Christianity didn't start like particularly the cross didn't start to become a symbol of Christianity until 300 years after Christ died. You know, a lot of people don't know about Constantine and the Council of Nicaea. You know, like a lot of people people don't even know who King James is. Nobody's researched King James. And
the fact that monogamy didn't become a thing until 900 AD, right? So like people in the Bible had plenty of wives. So like the whole idea of monogamy is
designed to keep you from overpopulating and overrunning the white folks.
European.
And the whole no sex before marriage thing was actually geared towards women because women had no rights. So if you got pregnant by a man, like you had no way to support or take care of this child, right? Which is why you weren't supposed to have sex with anyone, because there were no condoms, there was no contraception, there was none of that. So if you had sex, there was a good chance that you would get pregnant, and you had no rights to take care of this child. And then the bastard child would not be taken care of. So that's where the whole no sex before marriage thing came. It had nothing to do with like this righteousness of being good and all of that. Do you really think that people weren't having sex before they got married in biblical times?
No, Ray, I don't. But my understanding came from something a little different. When lords of the manor didn't want to have more serfs to have to help provide for, or couldn't afford that in the place, that's why the rich came up with the no sex before marriage thing, so they could control.
Same shit. That's what we're talking about.
Right. So in both situations, it's still Eurocentric in origin.
Oh, 100%.
And you also have to keep in mind that we have to separate God, gods, and lords, right? There are three different references to three different classes of people over history, right? We had lords coming from Europe, like Lord Baltimore, claiming land here in the United States, that they knew they would present a text called the Bible. That's the only way slaves could learn how to read, so that when they were free, It was easy to control them by the mind.
Well, you also understand that when you go to that the first black preacher was not called by God. He was called by the white man.
Mm-hmm.
To deliver a message to his people on behalf of the white man.
Huh?
To deliver a message through that dude.
See, and remember, the black preacher couldn't read. They processed his hair, gave us some chicken. That's where the chicken thing comes from. And they gave him the scripture that he was to give to the other slaves.
So first of all, chicken is delicious. I'm just joking.
Yeah, chicken is good. But that's when you say the biggest piece for the pastor.
Right, pastor.
But that's where the concept came from.
Yeah.
He couldn't read, but he had memorized what the slave master. Now, this is what you tell the other niggas. Okay? This is what you tell them. To obey the master. They be like God then. And this was our teaching. We got to understand, and we got to put aside this mindset we think is unholy to think for ourselves and to understand that the God of the white man has always existed. He did not exist in the form of Christianity. Christianity is of the white man. It's an indoctrination. It's like the Willie Lynch letter, and it's worked just as well.
Aldo, you had something. You still there? Okay. I think you froze. Candace, you had something? I'm sorry.
Pastor, I do have a quick question. So I inherently think religion is evil. Something is wrong with it. But believing is something different. But I like to study what other religions believe. Do you study other religions, Buddhism, Rastafarism, all of that?
Yeah.
Do you study those too?
You read all of that because you deal with all types of people. Okay. The people that I deal with, basically, and my platform is large, but are people who they fed up with the church. Okay. They fed up with the teachings of the church, and they're getting nothing out of it. We don't talk about the Apocrypha. We don't talk about the books of Enoch. We don't talk about anything else. We only deal with the 66 books, and then the church will teach you that if it's not in the 66, it ain't real.
It ain't the word of God.
Yeah, it ain't the word of God if it ain't in the 66, which is so wrong. Mm-hmm. So wrong. If you want to mess your pastor up Sunday, go and ask your pastor, where was Jesus from age 12 to 30? Because your King James Version eliminates 18 years out of his life. Where was Jesus at?
I heard
Did he go to
he
Mars or somewhere?
Kundalini. That's what I heard.
You heard what, Ray?
I heard he was in India studying Kundalini. That's what I heard.
I heard he was in Egypt at one of the occult temples. I'm serious.
I didn't be hearing shit. I don't know it to be true, but that's just what I heard.
I don't know where he was.
Well, look, somebody
Who
back then told y'all crazy, Joe, you crazy.
Pastor, I do have a question, Pastor. With religion aside, as a believer, do you believe that people have the gift of prophecy? Do you believe in, the not the fruits of the spirit, but fruits of the spirit? Do you believe that as a pastor?
Yeah. I believe that God gives us all gifts, not just a preacher.
Yes.
That God gives us all gifts.
Okay.
The word premonition ain't nothing but a gift. Okay. It's God telling you that something's about to happen. He gives you a warning of something that is about to happen. So I think that we all got the gift of prophecy. In fact, see, if we all just realize it, We all ministers. Everybody is a minister.
Mm-hmm.
To administer the word of God, to administer goodness into everyone. So yeah, I think that we all have a gift of prophecy or a premonition, whatever you want to call it. We all got the gift and we all got to use it.
I wanted to ask you about that too, Pastor. What do you think about people? You know, a lot of people say that they believe that pastors need to be called. Pastors should be called. Like, what do you think about the calling to be a pastor?
Well, there is a calling, but it ain't like what people will want to tell you. I've heard guys get up and say, I heard a voice last night that told me to get up. No, Negro, it didn't say go preach, it said go pee. That's what it said.
Hey, Mr. Thaddeus, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to interject. It's funny you said that because I was reading Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington, and he was talking about the first when a man becomes literate, when he learns to read and write, man, verbatim, he'll stand up on just a Sunday in the middle of the church and say those exact words you said. I heard a voice, you know, basically telling me I've been called a priest. So it's funny you say that. That tradition goes back a long time. But go ahead.
Well, that goes back, and it goes back to that same Negro saying that he done had a vision. You done heard the Negroes talking about, oh, I had a vision. I saw it last night, and the Lord told me to tell all you Negroes to get in that $100 line. Yeah. And the Bible, when it comes to vision, when you read the 23rd chapter of the book of Jeremiah, which started out with the woe to the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, said the Lord. In the 16th verse, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you, they make you vain. They speak a vision of their own hearts and not out of the mouth of the Lord. My thing, man, when I was a little boy, I knew I was going to preach. That was an old lady. My mother was 16 years old. That was an old lady that told my mother, her name is Electra Miller Stewart, she's good and dead now, that said that you're carrying a preacher. You're carrying the voice of God in your womb. Now, I did everything not to make that come true. Okay? And mine was an urging, man. It was an urging that you got to do this. I preached for years. I hooped and hollered for years. I left the church because of the bullshit. And prior to my mother's death, boy, you need to get back into church. And I wasn't a member of nobody's church. I joined the church. And then the closer she got to dying, this urge of me going back and starting my own ministry, it was an urgent. I ain't heard no more, but I could feel it all in my spirit, man. And when I made a deal with God, my mother died, will be what, 4 years this year? Before 4 years this year. I preached my mother's funeral. And I hadn't been in a pulpit in about 7 or 8 years. I made a deal with God. I said, now, God, if I'm able to preach a funeral and don't cry, I'm going to go and start this thing. I didn't cry one lick. I started. And let me share with you, man. Starting ministry has been the hardest thing that I've ever done. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. As of last year, not 2020, but 2019, I had spent $504,000 of my money for ministry. And if that wasn't God, I'm the damnedest fool on the planet. But that's an urging, and I tried to figure out, man, cussing pastor. I didn't name myself the cussing pastor. I was cussing in 2017.
The streets, Pastor. Somebody else got to give you a nickname. We know it, baby.
Huh?
Just like in basketball, somebody else got to give you a nickname. You can't give yourself.
Right. It's a moniker.
I was doing a live, man, talking about an issue in Memphis for 4 hours, a 3-minute rant. Somebody took my 3-minute rant, put it on Facebook. In 2 days, there were 2.3 million people that had taken it, and they was calling me the cussing pastors. I went and got me a trademark and branded that particular name. And I've asked myself, and I've asked God, why the cussing pastor? And here's how God has defined it to me in my spirit. He reminded me of a story that is biblical. That you remember when they was out there fishing and they cast their nets. They were in the sea and they had fished all day long and hadn't caught nothing. They said, Master, we've been fishing all day long and we have not caught anything. He told them to take those very same nets in that very same sea and go to the other side of the ship. And they caught fish. And I began to, I said, well, okay, I got that, God. What is the analogy of this story? I'm raising up preachers that ain't like everybody else. They ain't catching my fish. You got to cast your nets on the other side and catch my fish. You can't clean a fish till you catch it. And the cussing became the bait. They tell me, I ain't never been fishing, but they tell me when you go fishing, you got to have some bait. You can't just throw your rod out there with the hook in there. The fish know, you trying to catch me. But when there is something that they recognize that's going to feed them, they hook on to the bait. Well, that's what the cussing has done. People catch on to the cussing, then they find, God damn, he can do more than cuss.
Answer.
Huh?
I got my answer.
Yeah, we know who he is. He may be the cussing pastor, but the pastor got something that I need. I'm the gangster, I'm the robber, I'm the hoe, I'm the heroin addict. I ain't going to hear T.D. Jakes. I ain't going to hear Charles Blake. That's bullshit. But wait a minute. Here this man is that's calling himself a pastor, and he uses the word motherfucker. Let me listen to him for a minute. I'm gonna bite this hook. He gonna reel me in. Then he gonna talk about empowerment. He's gonna talk about uplifting our people. He's gonna talk about fathers taking care of your children, taking care of your wives. Don't leave your children. And the reason that we have gangsters in our street is because we went off and left our children, something that the Black church is not saying. That's who the cussing pastor is. Did I answer you now?
Yes, thank you.
And I think that it's a space.
Getting full of this wine.
That's good. I think it's a need for that as well. You know. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Aldo, I see you back. Did you still have a question for Pastor?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm just listening now. I appreciate everything he's saying, just to be honest with you. I still believe the Bible bullshit though, but I'm still listening.
Man, I was waiting for a lot of your alumni to call.
Me too, Pastor. I'm waiting.
Especially from Memphis.
I put the number in the chat, so if you guys are looking at that number, the 301 number that's pinned, feel free to call in.
And you know what, Sammy? I wish that lady who was giving all of that, the lady pastor, whoever the preacher was doing all that talking on the comments, I wish she would tap in, because I think the pastor that called out a lot of these so-called pastors and preachers and bishops and all of this stuff, I think he done called a lot of them out. And I love everything this man is saying, and I'm definitely gonna come up there.
Well, let me give her a reason to call.
And she's from Memphis, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
She ain't got no balls. But let me give her a reason to call. I don't fuck with women pastors.
Wow.
Whoa.
You say you're a preacher, okay. I don't fuck with you as a woman pastor.
Why
Because
not?
then you are out of line with God. You can't be my head. You can't be my head. You can't be my leader. The woman is the head.
What do you think about Kamala? What do you think about Kamala Harris? I'm sorry, I just gotta interject that real quick.
You don't think women are called to preach?
Hold on. They about to be so mad at you, Pastor.
Man.
Let's run it, god dog it.
These people are about to be so upset with you, man. The views of the pastor are not the views of Let's Talk About.
Oh, you're an hour and a half almost into it, and now you want to give a disclaimer.
Right.
Yeah, we forgot that shit earlier.
I need to know. I need to know why you don't feel women are called.
I don't fuck with women pastors.
Why?
Because you out of the line of God. Who's the head?
What?
The man is the head.
What?
Is the head, is the leader.
So, but that's in the Bible, right? So if we don't believe that everything in the Bible should be taken literally, then why would we believe that women are not called to preach?
I didn't say not called to preach. I said the pastoring and preaching is different things.
So you don't feel like women can lead a church?
You can't be my leader. You can't be my leader. That's out of tune with God. God made the man to be the head.
Okay.
Then when the scripture says, muzzle not the ox that treaded the corn, that's in reference to the preacher. Well, an ox got nuts. He got testicles. He got balls. I'm getting married in April the 4th. My woman sitting in here. She my woman, but she can't be my head. Anything with two heads is retarded or the phone.
You might want to issue that disclaimer again.
So, Pastor, while I can't say that I necessarily agree with you, I will say that in my experience, many women, and I'm sure that I'm going to get raked over the coals for this. However, many women want gender roles for men, but not for themselves, right? And so, like, they will accept the roles that we should play in their lives, right? Like men should do this, and this. But if we tell a woman what she should do in our lives, all she got is a ton of shit to say about it. So I don't necessarily agree with you, but I don't disagree with you either.
Fix it up, brother.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know. I think that because, of course, we're in a new time, a new day and age, that it's typical.
Permissible?
It's typical to think that a woman couldn't lead a church or lead people to prosperity, to Christ, to whatever their purpose is, their calling. I think that's a typical point of view, to think that a woman can't be the head.
I didn't say she can't do those. I didn't say she couldn't do those things. I didn't say she couldn't do those things.
But I'm saying
she can't pastor. She can't be the boss. She can't be the leader.
But in the church, she can be a leader in the church and be submissive at home. So what's the difference?
No. That's still out of order.
So, I just want to
I mean, that's like saying a woman can't lead a corporation.
So Kim, I just want to
We
give
ain't talking about the corporation.
scenario. So Kim, so you and your husband are driving down the highway, right? You and your husband are driving down the highway. You guys get a flat, right?
Yeah.
Husband is sitting in the car texting while you change the tire.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay for you?
It's not about it being okay for me. It's about the relationship.
Asking
if I know how to change a tire and he doesn't, and I can get out there and do it, fine. Or I'm gonna call AAA.
I'm sorry. Both of you know how to change a tire. Both of you know how to
If he knows how, the expectation as a man is to protect me. So yes, he's gonna get out the car and change the tire. But if he did not know how, and I did, I wouldn't have a problem with getting out the car and him, being a shield at least, so I don't get hit by a car.
That's so politically correct.
But I'm saying it's the truth, because there are a lot of women who lead in their households. There are a lot of women that make more money. There are a lot of women that do a lot of things that are considered male roles, and they still are submissive to their husbands. So I don't think.
So what exactly is
the role thing?
Hold on. Ray Wills, we can't hear you while she's talking, so hold tight.
So my question was,
we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hold tight.
Your iPhone user.
I like when I start stuff.
Well, she was trying to get the point out, Ray. So we can't hear both of y'all. So
I heard his question and I answered his question.
And real quick, we still can't hear you, right? And real quick, we got a caller. So let's go to the caller after.
I knew your phones would ring now.
Ray Wills, go ahead, please.
What I said was, if you and your husband both know how to change a tire, would you be okay with your husband sitting in the car text messaging while you are changing the tire? And I'm going to answer and say,
you're trying to put some salt on it, Ray, like he's in the car texting. If we both know how to change a tire, hold on.
I love this.
Listen, if we both know how to change a tire, automatically he's going to get out the car, because that's the type of man that I married.
Oh, so gender roles are cool for that.
That's not what I said, though. You're trying to throw salt on it. I said, you heard what I said in the beginning, which was, if we're both in the car and I know how to change a tire and he does not, and I get out the car, I have no problem with changing a tire, because I don't consider this is his role, this is my role. Are we a team? Absolutely. But if we both know how to do something, yes, he's automatically going to get out the car, because that's the type of man that I married.
Why is he automatically going to get out the car and change?
Because he's a man. He's an alpha male. My husband is an alpha male, but I'm an alpha female. So there are a lot of things that we go back and forth about, where it's like, well, I should do this or I should do that. We're both very strong-minded people.
Like taking out the trash and pumping the gas.
Like, period. Like, I don't have a problem with doing either. But as an alpha male, he wants to do those things. That's who I married, though. I can't speak for all women. But what I can say for me, if it were a situation, again, where my husband could not change a tire and I could, I'm going to get out the car and change the tire or call AAA. Either way, we're going to be good. But to say a woman can't be a leader in the church or pastor a church, I just think is a typical response when we just sat here and talked about the Bible not being taken so literal. Why can't a woman be the pastor? Why can't she be the head of that church? It doesn't necessarily.
A woman can't be my head. A woman can't be my head.
But I feel like that's personal preference, though. But to say a woman,
a woman
use words like can't.
A woman is to be a helpmate to a man.
Do it every day.
The woman is to be a helpmate to a man.
But that's if she got one. Nowadays, that's if she got one. Most women, most black women are the most educated. Black women are the most educated people in this country.
Oh, here we go with that.
One today. One of the brilliant minds.
And the reason that some of y'all ain't got no women.
What if she can't be a helpmeet to her husband?
Okay, but
her purpose is to serve the people. So you're saying she can't do that? You wouldn't support her? That to me is a typical response versus a well-versed response.
I've got
so
you as
we
a
can tolerate. Hold on. So we can tolerate a pastor cussing, but we can't see a woman preaching in the pulpit. That's ridiculous.
That ain't what I said. That is not. I didn't say I
You
couldn't
said
see
a
a
woman
preacher.
couldn't be your
You
head.
can't be my head, but as a woman, I got you crunked.
Absolutely.
You being protective now of the woman.
Absolutely.
You can't be my
Because
head.
so many men don't protect.
You can't. You gonna be my helpmate. You ain't gonna be my head.
Well, I already am a helpmeet to someone else.
Well, I mean, can't no woman be my head. You gonna be my helpmate. You were made to be my helpmate, not to be in charge, baby.
That's in the household, though, Pastor. We're talking about.
It didn't say in no household. It did not say in no household. It didn't say household.
Come on, Pastor.
But Pastor, now
that's very one-sided, Pastor.
I've been waiting for a conversation like this the whole damn show.
You talk, so you don't judge homosexuals, but you don't believe a woman can lead a church.
You can't be mad. You can't be mad. You can't leave me at the house.
Wow.
You can't leave me nowhere.
Hey, real quick. Real quick. We got a caller. Caller, where you calling from? Unmute yourself, please. Caller, you there?
Coming in. This is why I say all that Bible stuff is bullshit. Because a woman can. She can be a preacher. She can lead a church. To me, a woman is my equal to me.
Thank you.
But I'm still an alpha male.
Thank
you. Okay, real quick. Caller, where you calling from? And what's your name?
You talking to me?
We are talking to you, caller. Turn your phone, turn your radio down, please.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm kind of old, still new to this. I'm calling from Tennessee, alumni, 2005, from 94. Long story on that.
What's going on, my brother? What's your name?
Shaka. I was
up,
the dude that was selling CDs over by the calf usually.
I remember that. What's up, Shaka?
Sorry, I'm kind of old.
Hey, turn your radio down, bro.
Yeah, that Elko.
Whatever.
Yeah, you got to turn.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that's the Zoom on YouTube. Anyway, yeah, you asked me to unmute it, so I did. But basically, this is like an argument with someone that's referencing the Bible. So it's sexist, but it is within the Bible that the man is the head. So it doesn't sound like this argument's going to go much further.
Candace?
Okay, so here's my issue with all of that, because we talked about the 66 books that's in the Bible and the things that are not in canons. There were heretical books that is not in the 66 canon that had Mary Magdalene as the head of the church and actually not preaching some of the same bullshit that y'all talking about. I get a woman can't be your head. This is the same Bible that was translated by King James, who was a homosexual and had plenty of wives while he was fucking men. So all of this shit about a woman can't be her head comes from years and years and years and years and millennia of oppression of women. So fuck that shit. Sorry. You can't say you don't believe and everything and then say, but a woman got to be subjugated to a man is bullshit. And gender roles, just like what gender you fucking is what you do in your house and in your bedroom. That ain't got nothing to do with nobody else's business.
And
period.
to piggyback on my good
I'm glad I was finding.
We all know that women are smarter than men. We all know that.
That's some bullshit, Kim. How you gonna say some stuff like that, Kim?
Took it there. I took it there because it's true.
It ain't no fucking truth.
But that's where
if that was true,
now you're pissed off.
Hey,
I got a question.
Hey, and the only reason you some bitches are more educated in this day and time because the white man gave y'all that bullshit. Don't come with me with that shit.
Oh, come on, bro. A&M we all graduated from the same spot. Education is for all.
Hold on, Shaka. You lying. I didn't graduate. I'm the only non-graduate on this motherfucker.
Aldo, you see what the pastor just did? He started all this bull and then sat back and started laughing. You see what
and it's cool because I agree with you on
I'm sorry, Aldo. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
Fuck you for real. Where you going?
I hate to mute you, but we gotta have some type
of order.
We got to, okay. Everybody was going out. I mean, clearly we heated. Caller, thank you for calling in. Is there did your, I guess, question get answered? Did you want to say anything else?
Got them CDs.
Hey, thanks for calling in, caller. We really appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
I would like to make an observation.
God damn.
Go ahead.
I love you, Aldo. I do. You my bro. I love you.
Whatever. Whenever I get a chance to talk, I'll say what I need to say.
No, Aldo, on you, brother. Go ahead.
Like I was saying, I agree with you on that part because I put my wife on a pedestal all the time. My wife is my equal. I love her to death. She is my backbone. My wife is an alpha female. I'm an alpha male. I know when to submit myself to her as an alpha female. She knows when to submit to me as an alpha male. We have that understanding. I believe that a woman can lead a church. If she got her mind right, she can lead a church. Now, if she's not submissive, no, I don't listen to all that. But you can't say women are smarter than men. You're allowed to get that way.
Bro, I just said
it was given to you.
Bro, I just said that because I was pissed. You know I love you.
Yeah, man, but that's bullshit. I don't like that.
And
But
please
that bullshit
understand,
about we allowed to get that way.
And I meant, and I stand on what I meant. White men has made it to where black men can't have shit in this day and time.
Right.
We're on this call, we're making our own way.
Right.
The weak ones, they have gotten caught up in the system. This is why the black woman is the most educated human being in the world in this day and time.
Absolutely.
Because they've taken that away from us. That shit hit hard with me. Y'all know how I feel about white folks.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that. I got
this bullshit saying you don't have to agree with it. I don't give a damn. You don't have to agree with it. It's the fucking truth.
Black women got a claw just like black men do, and sometimes we got a claw harder because we get pulled down by black men.
Y'all ain't nowhere near. Y'all don't go through the bullshit that we go through every day. You can go outside and not have to worry about being killed. Yes, there's black women that have been killed, but you don't have to do that shit. You don't have to fear like we do. So don't say that shit, man.
Bullshit.
No,
we gotta fear it too. Plenty of black women have been killed just like black men.
Complaining that black men don't protect y'all. I say that's bullshit, and I'm tired of hearing y'all say that shit. I'm tired of hearing y'all say we don't protect y'all. Hell, we live to protect black women. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's bullshit. I had an incident today. Some do.
That's just
Some
you
do.
and
That's
your
bullshit
personal life.
that all black men live to protect black women.
You can't generalize what you would do, Aldo, versus what black men across the board have done for centuries, right? Like we know you.
How did this shit start? How did it start? See, I like to go to the root
conversation.
I like to go to the root of it. But we're talking about spirituality, religion. Y'all got on this other shit about women can't lead the church.
Because
I don't believe that. I believe they can.
He's not gonna follow no woman. He said she can't.
And that's his personal. That's his thing. That's what he believed, and it's cool for him to believe that. But the shit got to be equal across the board.
Absolutely. And you're right, bro. And we ain't trying to start nothing with you. And I agree. But the point that I was trying to get to with the pastor is how can you be so open in your thought and in your mindset with everything else that we discussed today? But the only thing that you are dead set on is women not being able to lead you in the church. And so that's how we got there. And Aldo, you my brother, and we have sidebar conversations. So I don't want you to be offended by anything I'm saying, but we're just
having a conversation.
Because I can't believe that a pastor that'll stand on a pulpit and cuss the whole sermon don't believe.
Whoa. Shit, stop. God damn it, stop. Shit. You ain't never heard me in the pulpit, have you?
Well, I don't know what you do in the pulpit, pastor, but I'm 38.
Don't tell that fucking lie about I cuss in the pulpit. You a damn lie. I don't cuss in the pulpit. Now, I got you women all riled and ruffled over your woman bullshit. I don't give a fuck about that. But don't stand there if you've never heard me on a Sunday morning. Tune me in this Sunday morning. But shit, I don't give a fuck about that bullshit. Ain't no woman gonna lead me. Now you think whatever the fuck you want to think. That's up to you. That's your thing.
Now, real quick, Pastor, let's get this clear. You just said something that I want everybody to hear. when you're on Sundays, if that's when you pass, or the Sabbath, the real Sabbath on Saturday, I'm not sure when you have service. I think it's on Sundays. When you have service, you don't cuss in the pulpit. That's what you're saying.
No, and what we have done, I went to verbal, especially during the pandemic. I'm giving up the damn building, okay? At 10 o'clock every Sunday morning. The last 2 Sundays, I preached on God and your wealth, God and your success, God and your motivation. And this Sunday, we pass out the 7 strings of income, okay? But don't let her sit her ass there and talk about I cuss on Sunday morning and you ain't heard me. Now, Monday through Friday on both of my shows daily, I'll cuss a motherfucker out, okay? And if you come too wrong to me on a Sunday morning, you might get a little cussing, okay? Because I ain't got no problem with cussing. And at the end of the day, ain't no woman gonna lead me. I teach men to be strong men and be the head of their house and the head of their relationship. And the reason that so many women have to be the head is because of weak ass men that don't do what they're supposed to do as men. So women have been moved up to the level, I got to take care of my own ass because the damn own ass be true.
Hey,
but I do like this controversy. I was waiting for some shit to kick off.
real quick. There's a commenter. I'm sorry to call you out, brother. Emmett Bean. Please call in because
I've heard that name too.
Bro, he must have a personal vendetta with you because
So,
this man literally
he ain't gonna call in because he don't.
And see, that's my problem though, Emmett. If you listening, bro,
don't keyboard thug come at it.
Emmett, if you listening, bro, my problem. Call in. Stop, like you literally everything you type in these comments. It seems like you may have a personal issue with Pastor. Maybe you know him. I don't know. But
I know the name. What did he say?
If you're not scared, Emmett, call in. The number is right there pinned. If you're not scared, you may be, I'm doing homework right now. I'm in school.
Oh,
I know.
The motherfucker's scared.
But Emmett, you literally have been commenting since we started this live, going hard at the pastor. I would like to hear what you got to say. I want to hear.
That's probably one of them weak men you talking about.
Yeah, but he does know. I'll fuck him up right here in the city of Memphis because I find out who he is. Then we'll have the discussion.
Emmett, do you live in Memphis? Are you an A&M Bulldog? If you can type in the chat, because I don't think I've ever seen you in our group.
I know the name, man.
Yeah, he's from Memphis. He's clearly from Memphis. This is somebody, I think that he truly does not like you, Pastor.
I mean,
well, fuck him.
Emmett's supposed to be doing homework anyway. This not gonna be the Bash Emmett show.
The coward motherfucker. Fuck him.
Why are you on the show? Get your homework done.
You don't want to call in this show anyway.
Hey, somebody, the perfect PYT said, Emmett, don't fall for it. You good, fam. I don't think he will perfect PYT. He's gonna listen to you. And he's definitely on your side. I can definitely tell you that because yeah, you got a lot to say. So I just wanted to give you that invitation to call in.
Don't apologize. Get on here and say what you I'm just like, who are we right now? And why do we just turn menace to society on Emmett?
Because we can.
Well, the thing is, there was several comments, and to be honest with you, I'm not instigating, Kendall, but to be honest with you, I cannot stand somebody. I mean, literally, you going hard on Aldo, Emmett. You went hard on Ray, Emmett. You went hard on the pastor. But call in so we can hear what you got to say.
Let me hear your voice. Let me hear your voice, pussy. Since you going hard on people.
He's from Montgomery County, Maryland, so he good. He's
a bitch. He's a bitch.
I don't think it's okay.
No, Sammy, real quick, I just wanted to comment on something that Kim said about black women being the most educated demographic. And it's true. And Aldo, the reason for that is because we as black men are allowed to exist in a patriarchal society that doesn't require that of us. So Black women don't have that same level of privilege to where we get to do shit like as men, just men, right? Color, like irrelevant, that Black women have to like go strides above us to be able to do and exist in those same spaces. So yes, that's something I just wanted to agree with Kim on about Black women being the most educated demographic.
The thing is I don't disagree with her, but the way it was said, you know what I'm saying, Kim?
You Aldo, so I don't know why.
I know, but I just felt some type of way. You know what I'm saying? I just felt some type of way.
Bro, I wasn't talking to you.
I got you. And I apologize.
It's not an issue with men. I love men. I love the Black man. Like, adore you guys. My issue was just with Pastor. I could not see past him being so open to everything but that. Like, that to me, it was a trigger. It just was. And it don't have nothing to do with you, bro. So I don't want you to feel no type of way, because I know how you live. I know how you treat your wife. I ain't talking about you. This ain't for you. You know what
I know, Kim. And like I said, I apologize. I apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Hey, you know what?
Past that narrative, like you're open to all of these possibilities and all of these things, and the Bible having more than 66 books, but you don't believe that a woman can lead, and
you gonna let me
as always.
But aren't you gonna let me believe what I believe?
That part for me,
aren't you gonna let me believe what I believe without you getting
absolutely,
pissed off?
absolutely. You can believe what you want to believe, Pastor.
Okay, then you can move on to the next piece, baby. Because when you get through ranting and raving and showing your woman thing, I still believe in what I believe.
Absolutely.
So shit, we can move on to the next thing.
That's why I don't want to talk about it.
I got something to say. Fuck Emmett, man.
Nah. Yeah, that's who you
don't want to call in. Yeah.
Real quick.
Y'all going real hard at Emmett. Emmett ain't disagreeing with me.
I got to go back and read the comments because I want to see exactly what he said, because I'm out in my truck now because a bunch of people came in the house. I want to read what he said about me.
Hey, you can say that I'm instigating whatever you want, Kendall. Emmett had a lot to say about Aldo. You call Aldo a clown, said something to Ray. He don't like Pastor. Yes, you a man. Call in. If you
I'll tell you what. If I'm such a clown, meet me and say that to my face.
Hold on.
How about that?
If you got a real problem or a real issue with the pastor personally, then call and talk about it instead of little shots in the comments. I just
being a keyboard thug.
With that.
The comment section.
Real quick, Fatima.
Studio gangster.
Fatima, apparently, Fatima Hudson, you got some questions. Type them in the chat.
So I'm gonna answer one of her questions.
Please.
Sit your ass in the car and you goddamn call AAA. You don't got to get out there and change no tires. You wait.
What's her question?
Period.
If her husband is incapable of changing the tire, how's it gonna get done?
Or call AAA. Like
that ass in that car.
I feel like because I put the scenario up, like I want to clarify. I'm not saying that your husband is incapable of changing a tire. What I said was, I started the conversation by saying that women are okay with gender roles for men, but not for themselves.
Right.
That's not true, right?
Hold on.
Let me finish. If you both are capable of changing a tire, there is no scenario in which your man is sitting in the car while you change it. That is what
I'm for the people in the back.
Will agree with me when I say that. If you don't, please tell me now, and I will call bullshit right now.
With the mute.
Real quick, Pastor. One of Fatima's questions to you, Pastor. Fatima wants to know how do you feel about extramarital affairs, and if she has one, is she going to heaven?
So it's fucking somebody besides her husband.
Correct.
That's between her and her husband.
Well, there's another motherfucker too. So there's that.
And the man. It's between her husband, and the man. Only thing I tell you is don't get caught. Because he may not be close to God and whoop your ass. So that's all I can say on that, man. I ain't gonna tell you go out there. I ain't gonna go out there and tell you to fuck on your husband. Because he gonna beat your ass if he catch you.
I hope that answered your question.
Pastor, I don't know if I agree. Most women who cheat on their husband tell them, no, I'm married. So, I mean, side nigga responsibilities are side nigga responsibilities.
Yo,
he know what's up.
I give you a pound on that. You right.
Yes. But there are women that will not tell the man that she's married. Now, if you tell the man that you're married, that still don't make the husband who you married to feel good about the fact that you told the man that you married. He's still gonna beat your ass even though you told him. Oh, you told him? Okay, I'm gonna whoop your ass for telling him.
I don't know, Pastor. It makes me feel good about myself. It's only that I'm committing one sin in, not two. I ain't lying and fornicating. I'm just fornicating.
Okay, but getting your ass whooped, is it worth you getting your ass whooped?
Hey, that ain't gonna happen. But hell no, it ain't
hope
worth
her
me
brothers
getting my ass.
ain't rough.
So real quick, pretty perfect PYT. How much did y'all pay for this man to come? Sweetheart, we don't pay nobody, number one. Number two, Pastor Matthews is a friend of mine, number one, and we've gotten money together. So I'm sure Pastor appreciated me inviting him on this show. I'm actually invited to his wedding, so he's a friend of mine.
But do let me tell her, if she feels that I'm worthy of pay, go to my Cash App. It's $ Naked Truth Ministries. God bless your heart. If you don't have Zelle, if you got Zelle, go to Zelle. And it's my email for Zelle is cussingpastormember@gmail.com. If you feel I should have got some money, please give right now. Thank you, darling.
Plate, y'all. Come on, let's pass this collection of plate around, Pastor. Come on.
I'm good with plates now.
So
That's the
again,
first thing they teach you.
I love it.
Put it in the plastic bag, baby. Put it in the plastic bag.
and to answer your question, sweetheart, no, we didn't pay him, but his Cash App is right there in the chat. Naked Truth Ministries. Feel free to
put the $ in front of it for Cash App.
Signs there, Pastor. Don't you?
Okay. I can't see it. I got you. But no, and do let me answer her question for that.
Yes, sir.
I don't do everybody's show. Sammy and I go back. Sammy and I have done business. Sammy brought me into Detroit to speak at a nightclub, The Blue, in Detroit, Michigan. I was treated very well. I was paid very well. So I'm doing this as a favor to him. But I have enjoyed this conversation, though I wouldn't have been here this long. And after being on that clown show that I was on earlier this week that had no substance, this has been a very informative conversation. And, you know, I love the fact that I was able to do what I do and stir up some shit. And because while y'all was arguing, I just laid back here and smiled while y'all arguing about.
I saw you with your smirk and your wine in your glass. I saw you back there.
Yes, I'm just sitting back. I said, now I'm doing what I do.
Stirring the pot. That's all right, though.
So
Pastor, what I do.
Pastor, real quick, talk about your book real quick.
The book again is entitled Bullshit from the Pulpit. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. The book will be coming out February the 19th. Huh? You can pre-order your book right now by going to www.chocolatereadings.com the cussing pastor, not the naked pastor, the cussing pastor. It's a very exciting book. It has a chapter in there that I've talked a lot about, and it talks about my affair with two women and the mistake that sometimes we as men make and the hurt that we pass on to other women. So it's a very interesting read. Get your book.
Make sure y'all go check that out. Before we've been on here 2 hours, 15 minutes. This has been amazing. I've definitely enjoyed myself. Before we get out of here, let's Go ahead, Joe.
I got one question. This is something that I've been wanting to know, and this is more in lines of like spirituality. I just wanted to ask a pastor. To you, what's the difference between your spirit and your soul? I know a lot of people been going to church for 100 years. Can't answer this, which says a lot about what's actually being taught, in church. So
I think that your spirit and your soul is one and the same. I think we all got a soul, man. And I think that your spirit and your soul are the same thing. I think that we want to separate the terms, but I think that we're all made up of soul, and that when this body dies, that the soul lives, which is the spirit. It lives. It lives. We are the afterlife. The soul is your afterlife. That's what I believe.
Thank you.
Final questions from the panel to Pastor Matthews. And if you guys are watching, real quick, I'm going to take maybe 1 or 2 calls if we get them. Call in, the number is pinned. From the panel, any questions for Pastor?
I've got one, Pastor. I'm just curious, so do you, because like I said, I know you very well. I appreciate you for being here. Do you have like a formal congregation? You meet every Sunday? Like you have like church with your people? I just want to know what that looks like.
Well, let me say this. I organized a ministry 5 years ago, and I went through church buildings and bad church landlords. In Memphis, I'm considered a black sheep. Okay? Because during the years, I've been on radio and TV for 40 years in this medium. I've exposed a lot of things. I've exposed a lot of the devilment that is going on in the church. So I'm looked on as the black sheep, and preachers publicly try to stay away from me. The congregation was small. That's the reason I spent $500,000 of my money. I have eliminated, I'm in the process, rather, of eliminating the building and being the pastor to the world. Because I understand that pastoring, the church is not a building. The church is the people. And that on Sundays, I've got 2,000 or 3,000 people that will listen to my message on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on my Facebook page, on my Instagram, or my YouTube channel. The giving and the contributing to the ministry is larger than having a building. So I'm doing away with the building, and I'm trying to enhance myself globally. Presently, I brought the studio out of a church building back into my house. I've got my studio here for church. I do radio as well. So I've got a radio studio here at the house. And I believe that this is just the way that God wants me to do it. Okay. And I haven't missed no blessings. Even in spending $500,000 of my money and losing a lot of money because of this pandemic, I'm still blessed, man. I'm still blessed. I'm still able to, I talk to people all over the country and all over the world on a daily basis. And people mean things for evil that blesses me. I've got something that I did Tuesday night that went out, Monday night or Tuesday night, it went out on World Star that I think has close to 300,000 hits. So it brings me an audience. I was on that clown Jason Lee's show the other night. It brings me an audience. So the increasing of my territory still keeps going, man. And I don't know how to quit.
There it is. There it is. Pastor. Real quick, Pastor, I don't know if you want to answer this. Last question. We do got a caller. Last question from the chat. Someone wanted to know, Fatima wanted to know, if you couldn't do right by either of those women that you're talking about in the book, why are you getting married again? By the way, I will be at his wedding. I'm excited about that.
And one of those women is in the book. And if you want to know the rest of her, read the goddamn book.
There it is. We got a caller. Let me let this caller in. Real quick before we go to that caller. Anybody, guys, definitely my Bulldog family. Something just happened today that I'm super excited about. If you guys have debt collectors calling you, outstanding consumer debt, make sure you guys shoot me a DM on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. If you know me, text me. I'm partnering with an A&M alumni lawyer to help our folks out and getting rid of certain kinds of debt. This is something serious. I was on a call today, and if you're a Bulldog, you know this lawyer, and you know how credible this lawyer is, and this is something big. So make sure you guys DM me if you got creditors calling you, collectors calling you, standing debt, whatever. Make sure you guys DM me. I just wanted to put that out there. Also, Pastor, plug your book real quick while we wait on that caller. One more time.
Well, again, it's from the Cussing Pastor. It's called Bullshit from the Pulpit. Very interesting book. You can get the book early. It comes out and it'll be on Kindle and the Amazon, but you can get it now pre-order www.chocolatereadings.com/the Cussing Pastor.
Awesome. Caller, you there? Take your phone off mute if you don't mind. What you got to say? And where you, first of all, where you calling from? And what's your name? You gotta take your phone off mute, caller. While we wait on that caller, our panel, anybody have final questions? Any final questions for Pastor Matt? All right. Caller, are you there?
Oh, real quick,
Yes,
Pastor Matt. I'm sorry.
I'm here now.
Hold on, Pat. Hold on. Go ahead, Candace.
Just real quick, Pastor or Sammy or somebody, can you drop those Facebook and Instagram links in the chat so people have them?
Okay. My Instagram page is the Cussing Pastor. My Facebook page is, I got 2 pages. The main page is the Cussing Pastor, or Cussing Pastor. Also, you also have my name, because one of my pages got hacked. So I had to change the way that it goes. It's my first name spelled backwards, my second name spelled backwards. Also, you can get me on the Thaddeus Matthews YouTube channel.
Got it. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Sammy, this is Kendall again. I'm calling in place of Emmett.
Is Emmett a
man?
Bulldog? Is Emmett a Bulldog?
Oh, you're asking me if Emmett's a Bulldog?
Yes. Is he a Bulldog?
I can't say that I've had the pleasure of really spending much time with him, so I can't really vouch for him. But I'm gonna stand in place of him tonight because oh man, y'all.
So what you saying? You calling me a clown, Kendall?
All right. Well, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I'm not gonna stand completely in place of Emmett because he went off a little bit, but but I do want to ask this question real quick though. Just as we're wrapping up. So if I push this this platform or this book to one of my friends and colleagues, and I want to real quick summarize what your mission is as the Cussing Pastor, because I know when they first see that they're gonna have some reservations. So if what's the one pager? If I would say, well, what your mission is with your ministry?
Read the book, brother. If you missed,
you're not gonna do me like that, are you?
if you heard the whole show, you all know what my mission is by now. If you want to know more, read the book.
Okay.
There it is. I hope
because we heard a lot of things tonight. We heard a lot of things tonight. So it kind of went all over the place. So I'm not exactly sure what the single thing that I can point to and say, okay, that's his mission.
Well, brother, just think about it. Just go back and look at the tape, and you'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay. I will pass that along. Emmett. Hopefully that was good enough.
Hey, Emmett.
I don't know why you ain't call yourself Emmett, but okay.
Your homework, Emmett. You better not flunk out of school.
You, bro. Like, come on, man. You
What is
it?
What is he? Hey, Pastor. What is Emmett for not calling, Pastor? What is he?
A bitch.
Simple.
And I recognize the name Emmett Bean, and I think it's probably somebody that I've had some conflict with here in Memphis. But fuck him. If you ain't man enough to set up, you got to have another man call for you. You're a weak motherfucker. That's what you are. You're real weak. So, like I said, fuck him.
There it is.
Hey, Kim, hey, Kendall, for the future, man, don't call for nobody else, bro. I know you. You better than that.
Y'all were going at it so hard, I felt bad for him. Somebody got to say something.
No, bro. I know you personally. I know you personally, bro. Don't do that for nobody, bro. Dude, a ho for not calling in on his own since he want to be a keyboard thug. Yeah.
Hey, there it is.
And then, if you know him, tell him come see me since I'm such a clown.
Thanks for calling in, Kendall. Again, we appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick. So my sister Disa, I don't know if you're still trying to call in. Welcome to Zoom. Answer your meeting ID followed by the pound. Right. So Disa, if you're calling in, once you call in, put the meeting ID in and press a pound, sis. And that's how you get on. We want to wait for you because I know you got something interesting to say. So I really want to get you in. If not, let me send you the actual Zoom link, and then we'll go ahead and get you in there as well, because I really want to hear what you got to say. So real quick, while we wait on if Lisa going to tap in, Kimberly Dobine, final thoughts or final questions for Pastor, and final thoughts as well.
I don't have any more questions. My final thoughts are women can do anything that they put their minds to. Women can be anything that they want to be, and women can be whoever God called them to be, whether that's a pastor, whether that's the head of the household, whether that's the CEO of a company. Women can do it all. Those are my final thoughts.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, sis. Joe Cross, final thoughts.
Hey, this was very entertaining. Pleasure to meet you, Pastor. Just kudos to you, man, for being able to stand apart, and to go full force with what you believe, regardless of what everybody else believe. I think that's commendable in a lot of ways. And, like whatever your mission is, to empower the people. I hope that you empower plenty of people, and, more power and more blessings to you, man. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you, brother.
Real quick, before we continue on, Pastor, someone said, what is your opinion of Islam and the role within the Black community? I think you talked on that a little bit earlier.
My thoughts is this. One of the men that I admire most, and the only Black leader that I think that we have in this country, is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I believe in his teachings. I believe in what he's doing for Black people. So that's basically what I have to believe on that. I've traveled at least twice. The last time with the minister was the 20th anniversary. I went to Washington. I'm very supportive of the Nation of Islam here in the city of Memphis, and I work with the brothers.
Cool. I guess we're waiting on Disa, so or she's not going to tap in. So final thoughts, Miss Candace Castillo. I want to make sure our women come first with our final
So
thought.
you let Joe Cross go before me because you want to make sure our women come first, Sammy?
And
No.
Is that what you saying?
And don't do that.
No, I just switched it up because
That's what you're saying. I don't think Joe Cross is a woman at all.
oh, I see my sis Kim is pissed.
Yeah, and I'm
Heated
saying,
right
don't do
now.
that.
I
Don't
won't.
do
I
that.
won't take this bait.
So
let me
sorry. I should have. Go ahead, Candace. Final thought.
You're fine, Pastor. I loved you being here. I loved your message, which I really don't understand how Kendall missed it because he's been commenting the whole show. But I love your message. And sometimes fisher of men have to go to the other side of the boat. So I'm gonna try to go to the other side of the boat a little bit more often.
Okay.
Real quick, Rob H asks, I think this is Rob who knows Ray. So asks, is Ray the Republican Bulldog dude? Is Ray, you want to talk about that?
I know Rob, but what did he ask? Am I a Republican? No. I think the whole two-system political party is bullshit. So I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. So no, Rob, I'm not.
I think he knew that, but maybe it was a jab.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a jab. I just want to be sure. Final thoughts, Aldo Anderson.
I appreciate this whole conversation. I love my sister Kim. I love everybody on here. Pastor Sammy told me the other night that I remind him of you, and I took that as a thumbs up. That's the good thing. So I appreciate everything you're doing, man. Keep on doing it and go even harder after this.
Thank you, brother.
Final thoughts, Ray Wills.
I gave mine already, but I'm always willing to speak. Pastor Matthews, thank you for being here, man. Thank you for the open dialogue. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to rap with you, and just to give a different perspective. I always feel that you have to be one thing or the other, right? Like you can't be in the church and have free thought. You can't question the church and still be a believer, right? So I just appreciate the dynamic of your being, man, and thank you for being here, Pastor.
Thank you for the opportunity, brother.
Final thoughts, Joe Cross.
No, I spoke before.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was going in order of the screen. I'm sorry, Joe.
Call me a warm.
I'm sorry. Our brother Quinton and Sadarg have to tap out a little early, so much love to y'all. Also, much love to my brother Dondi, who is now our in-house lawyer, as well as he's doing some stuff with our social media. As you guys see, we are live on YouTube now. So next week we'll be able to be live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time. So hold tight for that. Final thoughts, Mr. Joe Madison.
First of all, Pastor, I appreciate your time. We know you could have been anywhere at all, but you chose to be here with us, and you showed up for our guy Sammy. So I personally appreciate that, because that helps us not just be who we are, but let the world know that no, we're not doing this in the name of Alabama A&M. We're people who went to Alabama A&M having conversations that extend far beyond the walls of just that small campus. So that being said, I want to make sure everybody understands that you can value one another's opinions and differences with or without the discord. But if you're going to have the discord, you may as well grab a drink with it.
Good one. Good final thought, my brother. Pastor, I hope you still got your drink, because we're going to do a toast at the end.
I got a little bit left.
Cool. So real quick, before we do that, final thoughts from you.
Well, man, first of all, let me say that it has been an honor and a pleasure to be on this show. And I've done quite a few shows, but none to the point of this level. And we've done this show almost 3 hours. I've joined my show. My show is normally on from 7 on to 9 Central Time. So I'm in my time and your time. But I thought that this was a conversation that was much needed. There are only some who know of what they read and the opinions of who the cussing pastor is. So I enjoyed this moment of debate and intellect, even though I did piss the women off a little bit. But that's what I do. That's what I do. I had to stir the pot up just a little bit. But man, this has been a pleasure. It has been a delight. This is going to stay up on my page for a while. I hope that people will go back and look at it. And at any time that you like me to come back, because see now, what you're going to get, you're going to get them poo-put ass preachers who are going to disagree with me and say that I'm wrong and things of that nature. And they're going to want a show. Give them that show. That's what you're here for. But if you need me to come back and kick them in the ass, just give me a call and I'll be glad to do it again.
I think what I'm going to do is I did talk to one of my brothers, C. Omar Evans, who is a preacher in New York. What I'm going to do is probably have, not next week, because next week we're going to talk about credit. And by the way, if you are watching this right now, please subscribe to this channel, the Let's Talk About It channel. We'll be on every Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We're streaming live here on YouTube and on our private Facebook page, which is, if you're a Bulldog and you're not following that page, I advise you to jump on the AAMU All Class Reunion page on Facebook. It's a private group. Make sure you join that group as well as subscribe to this channel. So what I was saying is next week we're going to talk about credit, I believe. But what I want to do is maybe the week after that, or maybe we'll just do it next week, is we'll have some trained clergy or trained, seminary folk who may have some rebuttals, and we'll have a show within that group, and we'll have a show to talk to them and see, maybe I'll invite you back on that show or bring you back another time. I don't know. We'll talk about it and we'll figure that out. So,
hey man, and get me back in Detroit.
Say no more about that. We already talked about that, and I'll see you in April for your wedding. I cannot wait for that.
I'll get your invitation off this weekend.
Thank you for that invitation. Real quick, Alabama A&M versus everybody. Ray Wills, thank you. Maddie, thank you. Aldo, thank you. Kim, thank you. Candace, thank you. Joe Cross, thank you. Dondi, thank you. Quinton, thank you. Who else? Disa, thank you. So if you want to, I know a couple people text me and sent me DMs, the Hill versus everybody.com. The Hill versus everybody.com. The Hill is where we went to school at, which is Normal's Hill, Alabama A&M, which is inside of Huntsville, Alabama. So FYI, if anybody had any questions about that. So let's do our toast. Guys, I really appreciate you guys joining us, everybody in YouTube land and Facebook land as well, and Instagram land as well. I appreciate you guys joining us. We are here every week, every Thursday. This is our second season, our 28th show. But this is our first show on YouTube, and we are happy to be here. So with that being said, Kim, take us out, sweetheart.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Pastor Thaddeus, for being here. We hope to see you guys again next week for another episode of Let's Talk About It. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.